Look, I'll be honest with you. What I'm about to show you completely changed how I think about modern cars. There's a Mercedes sitting inside the Stuttgart Museum right now. A Greek taxi driver bought it in 1981, drove it for 23 years, and when he finally handed the keys back to Mercedes-Benz, the odometer read 2,850,000 miles. Mercedes gave him a brand new C-Class as a thank you. But here's the part most people don't talk about. The original engine still ran. Compression was still inside factory spec. The car didn't die, it just retired. So I started digging into why, and what I found will probably annoy a lot of Mercedes engineers working today. This is the 1976 Mercedes 240D. The OM616 diesel made 64 horsepower. A modern lawnmower puts out more power than this thing. By every spec sheet metric we care about today, this engine looks like a joke, but that joke outlived everything we've built since. You've probably heard the standard line, modern diesels are more efficient, more powerful, better engineered. Honestly, that's not wrong. They are more efficient. They do make more power per liter, but they're not built to last. The OM616 was. Let me show you what I mean. No turbocharger. None. The OM616 pulled air the old-fashioned way, naturally aspirated. No high-pressure common rail. No computer deciding when to fire the injectors. Just a Bosch mechanical pump and a pre-combustion chamber. Almost stubborn in how basic it was. Now compare that to a 2026 diesel. The injectors fire fuel at over 30,000 psi through 8 to 10 microscopic holes. Beautiful precision engineering until one fails. Then you're looking at $600 to $1,200 per injector. You've got 4 of them. Do the math. The OM616, lower pressures, simpler injectors, and when they did wear out, any decent diesel mechanic could rebuild them on a workbench for under $100. One design choice. Indirect injection versus direct injection. That's the gap between a 200,000-mile engine and a 2,000,000-mile one. The block was cast iron, so was the head. Heavy? Yes, but it didn't warp under thermal stress the way modern aluminum heads do. The timing system used a chain, not a belt. No replacement schedule, just a chain, doing its job, quietly, for decades. And here's the thing nobody mentions. There was no DPF, no SCR, no EGR cooler, no AdBlue tank. None of the emissions plumbing that turns a modern diesel into a maintenance nightmare after 80,000 miles. Compression ratio, 21:1. That's high, but the bottom end was built for it. Forged connecting rods, nitride-hardened crankshaft on later versions. Every component was overbuilt for the loads it would actually see. That's the engineering principle the industry has quietly abandoned. Okay, let me introduce you to the man who proved this in real time. His name was Gregorios Sachinidis, taxi driver, Thessaloniki, Greece. Bought his W115240D, used in 1981. For the next 23 years, that car was his office, his paycheck, his everything. He maintained it himself. Oil changes every 3,000 miles, using basic 20W50 mineral oil. Fuel filter every 10,000. Air filter when it looked dirty. The timing chain got replaced once, at 1.2 million miles. That's the entire service log. No major engine work, no transmission rebuild, no turbo replacement because, say it with me, there was no turbo. When he donated the car to Mercedes-Benz in 2004, their technicians tore the engine down. Compression was still within factory spec. The car could have kept going. Now let's talk money, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. Sachinidis crossed 2 million miles on routine maintenance alone. Total estimated cost over 23 years, less than $15,000 in today's money. Compare that to what you're signing up for with a 2026 diesel. By 80,000 miles, expect the DPF cleaning, $800 to $1,500. By 100,000, your AdBlue injector usually needs replacing. By 150, your fuel injectors start failing one by one. $800 a pop. A modern diesel hitting just 200,000 miles often costs you $8,000 to $12,000 beyond regular service. To match what Sachinidis did, you'd repeat that maintenance cycle 10 times. The OM616 did it for a fraction. And here's the kicker. Sachinidis isn't a one-off story. There's a reason taxi drivers across Lebanon, Egypt, Morocco, and Nigeria still buy W123 models from the 1980s. There's a reason restored W123-240D sedans now sell in the US for $18,000 to $35,000, when they originally sold for around 16 grand in 1985. In half of North Africa, these aren't collector items. They're daily transport. Some have crossed 1 million miles in commercial taxi service, and they're still earning. They just don't stop. And that's not nostalgia talking. That's engineering. Now, I'm not saying modern Mercedes engineers are bad at their jobs. They're not. They're just solving a different problem. In 1976, the OM616 needed to meet basic emission standards. No serious NOx limit. No particulate regulations. Engineers had one job: build something that ran forever for taxi drivers in Athens and Nairobi who couldn't afford downtime. In 2026, every diesel has to meet Euro 7 or Tier 3 Bin 30. That requires AdBlue tanks, particulate filters, EGR coolers, exhaust gas sensors. Brilliant engineering, and each one is a failure point that simply didn't exist on the OM616. This isn't a moral judgment. It's a constraints problem. Modern engineers are answering a different question than 1976 engineers were. The OM616 was built to never stop. The modern OM654 is built to meet emission standards while delivering acceptable performance over an 8 to 10-year ownership cycle. Both are valid engineering. They're designed for completely different goals. So when people say they don't make them like they used to, they're right. It's not because today's engineers are lazy. It's because the priorities shifted. Longevity used to be the goal. Now it's one of about 15 competing priorities. That Mercedes sitting in Stuttgart isn't a museum piece. It's evidence. Evidence that mechanical simplicity, combined with overbuilt parts, produces something that breaks every assumption modern engineering makes about how long a car should live. And the real proof isn't even in that museum. It's on the roads from Athens to Nairobi, from Casablanca to Cairo, where 50-year-old Mercedes diesels still earn their owners a living every single day. All right, your turn. Drop your highest mileage car in the comments. Tell me what you're driving and how many miles it's done. I'm curious which one of you is going to surprise me. And subscribe, because next week, I'm covering the Toyota Hilux that Top Gear tried to destroy. They drove it into the ocean, set it on fire, put it on top of a building they demolished with explosives. The truck started after every single test. This video uses AI voiceover and AI-assisted visuals, analysis based on Mercedes-Benz museum records, and verified engineering specifications. Always consult a certified mechanic.